Thank you for tuning into my channel. I'm Asha Pradeep. I'm at the Asha Pradeep Photography Studio. I specialize in newborn baby and maternity photo. People who don't know, I've been doing photography since 12 years now. I have my own studio since 6 years. I want to take you through the basics of the camera today, and I'll be making series of videos to take you through the basics of how to use your DSLR, or how to use your point to shoot, or how to use your camera's manual mode. So let's get into it. I know that many of my friends and clients whom I meet has always been saying that they bought a camera but they are not able to move out of the auto mode. The automatic mode is nothing but the camera decides the ISO, the aperture, and the shutter speed automatically by itself. So today we are going to learn what these three basic principles of photography are, and how you can use it to create a beautiful photo. There's once I read this somewhere that your camera is basically a tool to create the photography. The photography is what you make out of it. There is this beautiful tool which is sitting in your camera bag, has lot more power than you think. You just need to understand it, you need to apply it, and then you can create amazing work. Let's deep dive into these three basic principles. That's ISO, shutter speed, and your aperture. Before that, I also want to take you through the modes, the different modes that your camera can have. So there's a automatic mode, which I already explained, that all these three things are automatically determined and controlled by your camera. How much light it has to enter, depending on these three principles, the camera decides for itself that okay, in this situation I am going to use so much of ISO, so much of shutter speed and aperture to determine the amount of light it is going to capture. However, there's also something called as shutter speed mode, or the S mode in most of the cameras. You can see that, and that means the shutter speed and the ISO can be changed, and the aperture is something that camera already predetermines for you. There's another mode called aperture mode, which is A mode in most of the cameras, where your aperture and the ISO can be changed by yourself, and the shutter speed is something that camera determines for you. In all these modes, there's something that which is not totally under your control. So the manual mode, or the M mode in most of the cameras, means that you can totally control the settings by yourself. So all these three settings, so ISO, aperture, and shutter speed, the basic functionality of all these three things is to allow the light into your photo. The amount of light that it can allow into your photo is the basic functionality of all these three things. Apart from that, each of it has a different functions that I will deep dive in my next videos separately made for each of it. And I'll also show you some examples how the ISO, if you change, what happens, how the shutter speed works, and how aperture works. Today's cameras are getting better and better day by day, isn't it? Even my cell phone, which is a basic one, has also the manual mode where I can change the ISO, I can change the shutter speed and the aperture. So I'm sure this particular course, what I'm going to make series of videos, is not only for the people who have the DSLR of any kind. It can also be the point to shoot camera, where you can still change these three basic principles of photography, and also for the people who love to take photos with their cell phones.